Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation is considering legal action to stop the Ford government's proposed changes to Greenbelt lands. We spoke with the chief in a one-on-one interview. He tells us the government is breaching its duty to consult with Indigenous communities on issues that impact their rights and their lands.
We need to be consulted on these things. You can't just go forward as you think's best.
GMA Stacey Laforme tells us he was disheartened when the Ford government forged ahead with plans to carve out 7,400 acres of Greenbelt land without any consultation with his community, when much of the land involved is within Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation territory. All he ever received was one email the day the legislation was introduced that included links to more information on the changes.
That's not consultation in anybody's mind. And that was it. Conduct yourself accordingly is how I took it.
He tells us the proposed changes could be violating calls to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, among other acts, and he's consulting with his legal team on how to move forward.
The legal aspect would deal with consultation.
Okay.
The moral aspect would deal with the reconciliation. How do you reconcile a people whose hearts pull them towards protection of the environment when you're doing something that is anti that? That's almost a moral affront to a people.
Of the areas impacted, the decision to open up land for development within the Oak Ridges Moraine is his top concern.
There's elders and people, Anishinaabe people, that talk about burial sites and people buried on those lands. And without consultation and without looking into that could be disrupted or destroyed.
The government says the land is needed to build more homes to accommodate Ontario's growing population. It plans on adding an additional 2,000 acres to the Greenbelt elsewhere to make up for the loss in land.
And you can't just think that the environment and the lands can be traded off for another section when you need that section. You know, it doesn't work that way. First and foremost, it's about the environment and what shape we're going to leave this world in when our children take hold.
He tells us he's still willing to sit down and talk with the government about this, but at the end of the day, the only solution for him and his community is for Ontario to repeal this legislation. We did reach out to Housing Minister Steve Clark's office for comment, but they didn't get back to us before airtime. For City News, I'm Yazdani.